Have you ever forgiven someone, truly, sincerely, only to realize later that they used your kindness as a weapon against you? That your forgiveness became their excuse to betray you again? It's one of the deepest pains a person can experience. To offer your heart in good faith, and watch it crushed without remorse. Welcome to True Stoic Mindset. We are often told that forgiveness is always the higher path. Religious teachings, social norms, and even modern self-help push this idea relentlessly. Forgive everyone. Let go of grudges. Be the bigger person. But Stoicism offers a much sharper, colder, but wiser truth. Not all betrayals deserve forgiveness. And more importantly, not all betrayers deserve a second chance in your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This isn't about holding on to hatred. It's about self-respect. It's about protecting your peace, your freedom, and your sanity. Forgiving certain betrayals isn't noble, it's foolish. There are betrayals so severe, so deliberate, that to forgive them isn't an act of virtue. It's an act of self-betrayal. Stoicism doesn't teach revenge. It teaches detachment, but also boundaries. Some people cross a line that must never be erased. Forgiveness, in these cases, is not healing, it's an open invitation for more damage. Today, you'll discover why Stoics refuse to forgive certain acts of betrayal. You'll learn the Stoic difference between letting go and letting them back in. The 5 types of betrayal that must never be forgiven, no matter how much it hurts. How to cut off betrayers in a way that protects your dignity and peace forever. This isn't about vengeance. It's about wisdom, sharp, clear, unapologetic wisdom. By the end of this video, you'll never look at betrayal the same way again. Because once you understand the Stoic law of boundaries, you'll stop wasting your forgiveness on those who never deserved it in the first place. Let's begin. The nature of betrayal in Stoicism. Not everyone deserves forgiveness. Let's face the truth. Betrayal is one of the most devastating experiences a human can endure. It strikes at the heart of trust, shattering the very foundation of relationships, whether friendships, families, or partnerships. In our society, forgiveness is often presented as the noble solution to betrayal. Forgive and forget, they say. Everyone deserves a second chance. But Stoicism asks a far more difficult, and far more honest, question. Does every person truly deserve forgiveness? The Stoics would answer without hesitation, no. 1. The Stoic view of betrayal, a violation of natural order. In Stoic philosophy, life is governed by reason, virtue, and personal responsibility. Trust, too, is seen as a natural contract between individuals, a mutual agreement rooted in integrity. Betrayal, therefore, isn't just a personal offense. It's a violation of this natural order. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." He wasn't encouraging pessimism. He was reminding himself that betrayal is not an exception in life. It is an inevitable part of human experience. But Stoicism also teaches that we must not tolerate betrayal under the illusion of compassion. Betrayal isn't simply about someone's mistake. It's about their conscious choice to harm you, for personal gain, selfishness, or malice. And Stoics are clear. Some choices must carry permanent consequences. 2. The difference between revenge and protection. One of the most common misconceptions about Stoicism is that it promotes passivity in the face of betrayal. That couldn't be further from the truth. Epictetus teaches, "When someone acts wrongly toward you, they harm themselves, not you, if you choose not to internalize it." This is crucial. Stoicism does not encourage revenge. It does not advise retaliating against those who wrong you. But it absolutely encourages cutting them off, firmly and completely. There is a clear difference between revenge and protection. Revenge seeks to inflict harm to satisfy your ego. Protection seeks to remove harmful people to preserve your peace. Forgiveness without discernment is not kindness. It's recklessness. 3. Forgiveness in Stoicism, not universal, but selective. Stoicism does acknowledge forgiveness, but not as a universal rule. Marcus Aurelius practiced a form of inner forgiveness. To bear what is unavoidable, and to accept with equanimity what cannot be changed. This kind of forgiveness isn't about letting others back into your life. It's about letting go of emotional burdens, so they no longer control you. In other words, forgiveness to free yourself from anger and bitterness? Yes. Forgiveness that allows a betrayer to remain in your life? No. Stoicism separates internal peace from external boundaries. You can release resentment without granting access again. 4. Betrayal's hidden danger, the repetition trap. One of the biggest reasons Stoics reject certain forms of forgiveness is because betrayal, once tolerated, tends to repeat. Psychology supports this. Studies show that individuals who forgive severe betrayals too quickly are more likely to experience repeated abuse, manipulation, or exploitation. Why? Because the betrayer learns that there are no lasting consequences. They realize they can cross your boundaries, offer a superficial apology, be welcomed back, and do it again. Stoicism warns against this trap. Epictetus advised, if someone proves themselves to be unreliable, treat them accordingly, without anger, but with clarity. Betrayal often comes from deeply rooted character flaws, greed, jealousy, cowardice, or malice. Such flaws are not easily changed. Forgiving those who show no remorse, no change, and no accountability is not virtue. It's self-harm. 5. The Stoic law of boundaries, self-preservation above social approval. Why is modern society obsessed with forgiving everyone? Because it confuses kindness with approval-seeking. Many people forgive betrayals not because they've reached inner peace, but because they're afraid of being seen as harsh or cold, losing social connections, facing uncomfortable confrontations. But Stoicism teaches that self-respect is far more important than social approval. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Forgiving someone who has clearly shown themselves to be a betrayer violates this principle. You are not obligated to keep betrayers in your life simply to avoid uncomfortable feelings. Stoicism demands that you place your peace over social pressure, your dignity over societal norms, your wisdom over emotional reflexes. 6. The power of walking away without bitterness. Perhaps the most liberating Stoic truth is this. You can cut off a betrayer without bitterness. Walking away doesn't require anger, resentment, or public confrontation. It only requires a clear mind, a calm heart, a firm boundary. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best way to avenge yourself is to not be like them. You don't need revenge. You don't need emotional drama. You simply need to walk away, and let their actions speak for themselves. Your silence, your distance, and your peace are your greatest forms of strength. Closing reflection, betrayal is a test of your wisdom. Betrayal will always exist in this world. Stoicism does not offer you a shield from it, but it gives you something far more valuable. The clarity to see it for what it is. The wisdom to know when forgiveness is dangerous. The courage to protect yourself, even when it hurts. Remember this Stoic law. Forgive for your peace, but never for their comfort. Some betrayals must remain unforgiven, not out of hatred, but out of respect for your own worth. In the next part, we'll uncover the 5 specific acts of betrayal that no Stoic should ever forgive, and why cutting these people off isn't just wise, it's necessary for your survival. 5 acts of betrayal you must never forgive. Stoic law. 1. Betrayal for personal gain, selling you out for their benefit. Among all forms of betrayal, there's one that Stoicism treats with absolute seriousness: the betrayal committed for personal gain. This is the person who sells you out, sacrifices your trust, and harms you solely to benefit themselves. In the Stoic worldview, this is not just a breach of friendship or loyalty, it's a complete violation of nature's order. Stoicism teaches that life functions through harmony and mutual respect. When someone deliberately destroys this bond for selfish reasons, they aren't just harming you, they are damaging the integrity of human society itself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that what harms the community ultimately harms the individual. Betrayal for personal gain tears apart this natural harmony. It signals that the person values money, status, or short-term advantage far more than honesty, justice, or virtue. This type of betrayal is not an accident or misunderstanding. It is a conscious, calculated choice. And Stoicism teaches us to see choices clearly, without illusions. The danger here is not just the betrayal itself, but what happens if you choose to forgive it. Many people, under pressure from society or their own guilt, feel tempted to forgive such actions. They tell themselves the betrayer was desperate or confused. They hope the person will change. They believe in giving second chances. But Stoicism warns sharply against this naivety. Someone who betrays you for personal gain has already shown that they are willing to sacrifice integrity for comfort. This behavior rarely changes, because it comes from a deeply rooted character flaw: greed, selfishness, or cowardice. Psychologists call this instrumental aggression, intentional, goal-driven harm done to achieve a benefit. Research shows that those who commit such acts often lack empathy, rationalize their actions, and repeat the same behavior when new opportunities arise. Forgiving them doesn't heal the relationship. It invites more harm. Epictetus teaches that people reveal their nature through their choices, not their words. If someone has shown you that they are willing to trade your trust for their benefit, believe them. The Stoic response here is not anger or revenge, it is complete detachment. There is no room for emotional negotiation, no space for second chances. Marcus Aurelius advises us not to be shocked by such behavior. Betrayal for personal gain is common in the world. But just because it is common does not mean you must accept it. The correct response is simple: let go without hatred, without drama, but with unwavering finality. The moment you forgive someone who has sold you out, you place yourself in direct danger again. You offer your peace, your dignity, and your trust on a silver platter. Stoicism calls for protecting your inner circle with extreme clarity. Once someone proves they are willing to betray for personal benefit, they must never be allowed back in. Your trust, once sold, can never be bought back. 2. Exploiting kindness repeatedly, then abandoning you. There is a quieter, more insidious form of betrayal that Stoicism identifies clearly: those who repeatedly exploit your kindness, only to abandon you the moment your usefulness runs out. This type of betrayer often wears the mask of gratitude. They appear to be humble, helpless, and in need. They come to you with problems, often appealing to your sense of empathy and generosity. At first glance, their requests seem reasonable. They flatter you with words of appreciation, making you believe you're making a difference in their life. But beneath this surface lies a dangerous pattern. They're not asking for help to grow. They're asking for help to consume. And once they've drained you of what they need, whether it's your time, resources, emotional energy, or even social connections, they will disappear. Worse, when you need help in return, they're nowhere to be found. Sometimes, they'll even accuse you of being selfish for asking. Stoicism teaches that such people are not merely opportunists. They are violators of the very essence of human relationships. True friendship, according to Stoic philosophy, must be rooted in mutual respect, honesty, and shared virtue. When someone takes without giving, and drains others without conscience, they are behaving contrary to nature. Marcus Aurelius gently reminds us that we exist for one another, but this does not mean we must tolerate those who take endlessly without giving back. Compassion, for the Stoic, is not blind. It is measured, thoughtful, and bound by reason. Psychologically, this behavior is known as relational exploitation. Studies show that individuals who engage in this pattern develop a sense of entitlement. They come to believe that they deserve help, not because of mutual respect, but simply because others are willing to give it. Over time, their entitlement grows stronger, and they learn to seek out givers they can manipulate. Here's the difficult truth Stoicism forces us to confront. Every time you forgive and continue to help such a person, you reinforce their exploitation. You teach them that there are no consequences for using others. You invite more of the same behavior. Epictetus teaches that wisdom sometimes requires appearing harsh in the eyes of others. He says, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In this context, that means refusing to help someone who plays the victim or constantly asks for favors might make you seem unkind, but it is, in fact, a sign of clarity and self-respect. The Stoic response to such people is not driven by anger. It is rooted in calm recognition of the truth. When you recognize this pattern, the solution is simple but firm: stop giving. Walk away without drama or explanation. You owe them nothing more. Detachment here is not cruelty. It is self-preservation. If you allow such people to remain in your life, they will continue to drain you until you have nothing left to offer. And when you're empty, they'll abandon you without hesitation. Your time, energy, and peace are sacred. Stoicism teaches that your highest duty is to guard them, not to endlessly rescue those who refuse to respect your boundaries. Forgiving serial exploiters doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you vulnerable to more harm. True wisdom is knowing when enough is enough, and walking away without guilt. 3. Sabotaging your reputation behind your back. There is a form of betrayal that strikes not at your resources, but at your very identity: those who secretly sabotage your reputation behind your back. This is perhaps one of the most venomous acts of betrayal, and Stoicism holds no tolerance for it. These individuals smile to your face, pretend to support you, and maintain an appearance of loyalty. Yet, in private, they undermine you. They spread rumors, twist your words, or deliberately damage your credibility for their own gain, whether it's out of jealousy, insecurity, or hidden resentment. Stoicism recognizes this betrayal as a direct assault on your character, which the Stoics hold as sacred. Your external possessions, your job, even your physical health can be lost and regained. But your character, your name, your honor, is something you must fiercely protect. Marcus Aurelius warns us not to worry about what others say, but he also reminds us to guard our integrity. Be indifferent to what makes no difference. And yet, there's a crucial distinction here. Stoicism teaches that while you must not obsess over opinions, you also must not allow malicious people to stay in your life unchecked. The danger of tolerating those who sabotage your reputation lies not only in the damage they cause externally but also in the corrosion they cause internally. When you forgive and continue to associate with such people, you slowly begin to doubt yourself. You start questioning your judgment, wondering whether you can trust anyone at all. This psychological erosion is far more dangerous than the gossip itself. Modern psychology calls this behavior relational aggression, a covert form of manipulation where individuals use social tactics like exclusion, rumors, and backstabbing to harm others' reputations while avoiding direct conflict. Studies show that people who engage in this behavior are often driven by envy and a desire for control. Worse, they rarely stop after one incident. Once they see that you're willing to overlook their actions, they escalate their tactics. Forgiveness here becomes a trap. It signals to them that you're afraid of conflict, that you'll endure disrespect in the name of peace. But in Stoicism, peace does not mean passive submission. Epictetus teaches that we must live according to reason and protect what is within our control. Your name, your circle, and your space are within your control. Allowing someone who sabotages your reputation to remain close is not mercy, it's negligence. The Stoic solution is neither rage nor revenge. It is absolute clarity. Once someone has shown they are willing to betray you behind closed doors, you must remove them, silently and completely. You do not owe them confrontation. You owe them nothing. The damage they cause speaks louder than any words could. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that dignity means walking away from dishonorable people without engaging in their games. Let them gossip. Let them twist the truth. Let them drown in their own bitterness. Your role is to remain steady, protect your peace, and uphold your character through consistent, virtuous action. Forgiving those who sabotage your reputation isn't noble. It's a slow surrender of your dignity. Guard your name, guard your circle, and let go of anyone who poisons either. And yet, among all forms of betrayal, there is one that cuts even deeper: those who strike precisely when you are at your weakest. That's the next betrayal we must face. 4. Betraying you at your most vulnerable moment. There is a form of betrayal that doesn't just damage your reputation or drain your resources. It strikes when you are at your lowest, when your defenses are down, and when you are least able to protect yourself. This is betrayal at the moment of your greatest vulnerability. Stoicism treats this type of betrayal with absolute clarity and zero tolerance. This kind of betrayal happens when you are already wounded, emotionally, physically, or financially. In these moments, you open yourself up to others, seeking comfort, guidance, or even just a sense of safety. You trust that those closest to you will protect your weakness, not weaponize it. But some people see vulnerability not as a call for compassion, but as an opportunity for exploitation. They take your secrets and use them against you. They exploit your temporary weakness to gain power, control, or personal advantage. Sometimes, they even appear supportive at first, only to twist your most fragile moments into tools for manipulation or public humiliation later. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that hardship is inevitable. But he also teaches that betrayal during hardship reveals not only the character of others, but also the importance of guarding yourself wisely. Psychologically, this behavior is known as predatory betrayal. It often comes from people with deep-seated insecurity, envy, or narcissism. These individuals instinctively sense when others are weak, and they capitalize on those moments to elevate themselves or to feed their ego. Studies show that betrayal during moments of vulnerability leaves lasting psychological scars, leading to complex trust issues, chronic anxiety, and deep emotional numbness. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot avoid all hardship, we must be vigilant about whom we allow into our inner circle during these moments. Forgiving those who betray you when you are weak doesn't make you virtuous. It simply invites deeper wounds in the future. Epictetus warns us to be ruthless with our personal boundaries. He teaches that we must never entrust our peace or safety to those who have shown they will not respect it. The Stoic response here is calm but firm. Never allow someone who exploits your lowest moments to remain in your life. Walk away, not with rage, but with unwavering certainty. Let go of the need for apologies or explanations. The betrayal itself is all the explanation you need. Some people only show their true face when they think you are too weak to fight back. When they reveal that face, believe it. Protect your heart with wisdom, not with sentimentality. The Stoic path is one of resilience and fierce self-respect. Forgiving those who strike you at your weakest doesn't heal you. It binds you to them even tighter. Release them fully, without anger, but with finality. And yet there is still one form of betrayal that surpasses all others, colder, sharper, and more dangerous than anything we've discussed so far. Prepare yourself for what's coming next. 5. Cold, shameless betrayal with no guilt. Some betrayals are driven by desperation, envy, or momentary weakness. But there exists a far darker, more chilling form of betrayal, one that is cold, calculated, and completely devoid of guilt. This is the betrayal committed by those who do not flinch, do not apologize, and do not even acknowledge their wrongdoing. They betray you without hesitation, and worse, they feel justified in doing so. In their eyes, they are never at fault. If anything, they believe you deserved it. Stoicism treats this kind of betrayal as the clearest sign of a corrupted soul, someone who has abandoned virtue entirely. Marcus Aurelius speaks of people like this. They are shameless, dishonest, and cruel. But it's not your duty to correct them, it's your duty to avoid them. These individuals operate without conscience. They may even smile as they betray you, watching your downfall with cold detachment. And when confronted, they either deny their actions or shift the blame back onto you, twisting the situation so that you appear to be the cause of your own suffering. Psychologists identify this as malignant narcissism or sociopathic behavior. Such individuals lack empathy and remorse. They are fully aware of the harm they cause, but they do not care. In fact, they may derive a sense of power from it. Studies show that encounters with these people leave deep psychological scars, leading to self-doubt, chronic stress, and emotional paralysis. Victims often question their own perception of reality, wondering if they are overreacting or imagining the betrayal. Stoicism warns that these individuals are beyond your influence. You cannot reason with them, heal them, or change them. Attempting to do so only entangles you deeper in their toxic web. Epictetus teaches that we must accept what is outside our control, and nothing is more outside your control than the heart of a person who has no conscience. Forgiveness here isn't just unwise, it's dangerous. Allowing such a person back into your life invites more destruction. They do not change. They do not regret. They only calculate their next opportunity to strike. The Stoic solution is absolute detachment. No anger, no arguments, no need for closure. Remove them fully and permanently. Let them drift into their own chaos, while you retreat into your calm. Your dignity, peace, and freedom are too valuable to be entangled with those who weaponize betrayal without guilt. The greatest act of self-respect is walking away completely, without explanation, without hesitation. And now, having faced the 5 forms of betrayal that Stoicism commands us never to forgive, the question remains: what happens if you do forgive the wrong people? In the next part, we'll uncover the hidden, lasting consequences of misplaced forgiveness, and why it can quietly destroy your life from within. The hidden cost of forgiving the wrong people. Forgiving the wrong people comes with a hidden price, one that Stoicism exposes with absolute clarity and psychology confirms with undeniable evidence. The first price you pay is the erosion of self-respect. In Stoicism, self-respect is not just important, it is sacred. Marcus Aurelius teaches that protecting your inner character must come before all external desires. When you forgive someone who has intentionally harmed you, especially without showing remorse or change, you are not practicing virtue, you are sacrificing your dignity. This is not just a moral concept, it has deep psychological roots. Studies in self-esteem psychology show that when people repeatedly tolerate mistreatment, they begin to internalize a false narrative. Maybe I deserved it. Maybe my boundaries don't matter. Every time you forgive without wisdom, your brain weakens its own defenses. Your ability to enforce boundaries diminishes. You begin to tolerate behaviors you once thought unacceptable. You don't just lose respect for the other person, you start to lose respect for yourself. In Stoicism, this is a catastrophic loss. Epictetus teaches that nothing external, no person, no insult, no event, should ever control your inner state. When you forgive wrongly, you allow external forces to dictate your inner worth. You surrender the very freedom Stoicism exists to protect. The second cost is repeated exploitation, a predictable yet often overlooked trap. Stoicism views human interactions through the lens of nature and character. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that people's actions reveal their nature, and we must act accordingly. Psychologically, forgiving repeat offenders trains both you and them into a destructive loop. Behavioral studies show that people who are forgiven too easily are statistically more likely to repeat their harmful behavior. Why? Because they learn that actions have no real consequences. Forgiveness here is not healing, it's permission. You think you're closing the chapter, but you're actually writing the next one. Each time you forgive a serial betrayer, their power over you grows stronger. They see you as weak, malleable, and easy to manipulate. Stoicism teaches us to accept reality without illusions. Epictetus reminds us that we must treat people according to their demonstrated behavior, not their promises. Forgiveness without boundaries is not compassion, it's fuel for exploitation. The final and most devastating cost is the lingering psychological burden. This is where the greatest danger lies. Stoicism teaches the importance of releasing anger and bitterness, not by tolerating injustice, but by detaching from it. However, when you forgive wrongly, you don't truly detach, you internalize. You suppress your pain in the name of forgiveness, but it doesn't vanish. Instead, it festers. Modern psychology refers to this as resentment suppression. Research shows that individuals who forgive without resolution often experience chronic anxiety, emotional numbness, difficulty trusting others, persistent self-doubt. In Stoic terms, this is the destruction of your peace of mind, the very thing Stoicism exists to protect. Marcus Aurelius teaches that inner peace comes from living in harmony with virtue, not from forcing yourself to tolerate what is intolerable. When you forgive the wrong people, you remain tied to them in unseen ways. You carry their betrayal like a silent burden. It clouds your thoughts, poisons your future relationships, and slowly erodes your ability to feel safe and confident. Stoicism shows us a different path, one that requires courage and clarity. Forgiveness, when done right, is an act of self-liberation. But forgiveness without wisdom is self-imprisonment. The Stoic solution is simple, but firm. Forgive internally to release anger. Cut off externally to reclaim freedom. Move forward, not out of hatred, but out of self-respect. Forgiving the wrong people isn't just risky, it's a quiet form of self-destruction. It's a betrayal of your own soul. And this leads to the next crucial lesson: how exactly do you walk away from betrayers without guilt, drama, or lingering pain? In the next part, we'll explore the precise Stoic method for cutting ties, calmly, permanently, and with complete peace of mind. How to cut off betrayers the Stoic way. After recognizing the hidden costs of forgiving the wrong people, one question remains. How do you remove betrayers from your life, calmly, firmly, and without regret? Stoicism provides a clear, disciplined method for cutting ties, one that protects your peace without resorting to anger or revenge. The first Stoic principle in cutting people off is simple: act without emotional noise. Epictetus teaches that we should never make decisions based on uncontrolled emotions. Betrayal naturally stirs anger, sadness, and disappointment, but none of these feelings should dictate your actions. Instead, Stoicism urges you to act from reason alone. This means removing betrayers not in a fit of rage, not to punish them, but because it's simply the correct, rational thing to do. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, your goal is not to mirror their behavior, it is to rise above it, calmly and decisively. The Stoic approach does not seek dramatic confrontations or grand gestures. It requires quiet, unwavering action. The second Stoic principle is even sharper: cut them off fully, without half measures. In Stoicism, partial boundaries don't exist. You either allow someone in your circle, or you don't. There's no space for, "maybe, let's see if they change," or just keeping some distance. Once someone has shown through consistent actions that they are a threat to your peace, the decision must be total. Psychology agrees with this. Studies on toxic relationship dynamics show that partial disconnection almost always fails. The betrayer finds ways to re-enter, re-manipulate, and re-establish control. Stoicism leaves no room for such traps. Epictetus emphasizes the need to accept people as they are, not as you wish them to be. If their character is incompatible with your peace, you must step away entirely. The third Stoic principle is perhaps the most important: detach without seeking closure or explanations. This is where many people struggle. They believe that in order to move on they need an apology, a confession, a deep conversation to explain everything. Stoicism calls this a waste of energy. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that what matters is what's within your control, and others' omissions, apologies, or awareness are far beyond that. Waiting for closure keeps you emotionally tethered to those who've harmed you. It places your peace in their hands. The Stoic way is different. You don't need them to understand what they did. You don't need them to admit they were wrong. You don't even need them to acknowledge your decision. You simply step away, silently, permanently, and completely. This act isn't coldness. It's clarity. In fact, walking away without seeking validation or explanation is one of the most powerful displays of Stoic strength. Psychologists call this radical detachment, the ability to disengage from harmful dynamics without emotional entanglement. It's not easy, but it's liberating. In Stoicism, this is how you reclaim full freedom. No anger. No drama. No guilt. You simply protect your mind, your peace, and your space. Let the betrayer remain trapped in their own patterns. You no longer need to engage with them or think about them. Your duty is not to fix them, it's to free yourself. And now, having cut off the betrayer, you are left with something far more valuable than revenge or empty forgiveness: a mind untouched by their chaos. The only question left is this: how will you use this new freedom to grow stronger? In the final part, we'll reflect on this entire journey, and leave you with a Stoic message to guide your next steps toward unshakable inner strength. Now that you've seen the full picture, one truth becomes undeniable. Not all forgiveness is virtuous. Not all people deserve a place in your life. And not all wounds should be reopened for the sake of appearing kind. Stoicism teaches us that life isn't about pleasing others or appearing noble on the outside. It's about protecting what is most sacred: your peace, your integrity, and your freedom. Throughout this journey you've seen how some betrayals cross lines that can never be erased. How forgiving the wrong people can slowly corrode your self-respect, leaving you vulnerable to repeated harm. How the Stoic path is not about revenge or bitterness, but about calm, silent detachment. And how cutting toxic people off is not an act of cruelty, it's an act of deep wisdom and fierce self-protection. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Your peace of mind is too precious to waste on those who repeatedly violate your trust. Now it's your choice. Continue the cycle of misplaced forgiveness and regret. Or step into clarity, reclaim your strength, and guard your peace with unshakable resolve." If this message resonated with you, subscribe now to True Stoic Mindset, and grow stronger, wiser, and calmer every single day. Tap the bell icon to never miss a video, each crafted to sharpen your mind and deepen your Stoic practice. Like, share, and comment below. Which lesson from this video struck you the most? What Stoic topic or personal struggle would you like us to explore next? Your journey toward freedom and unshakable calm begins here. Let's keep growing together, calm, strong, and unbreakable.